See, nowadays ML is everywhere. Take an example. If you just open a Google map and giving you a prediction like 1 hour for 54 minutes, and that mean will take it from the source to a destination. All the commuter times, the prediction are done on a mobile application, are a part of machine learning. A facial match. Let us suppose if you have a Apple mobile phone, the prediction basically predict your face, and dozen of ML models are actually we are using nowadays in our mobile phone. Similar way, we will be able to understand, okay, this is the model, this is the prediction actually create done by my model is, and how actually this will be beneficial for the real world application. And that real world application will be my mobile technology. That real world application we will develop it but using a Android application. See, in this slide, basically I have just shown you the heart of transformation. Big data, deterministics, probabilistics, analytics, data science, machine learning. Basically, ML is the heart of transformation. And already seen in the previous slide. See in the next slide, basically, how actually my model work basically. Nowadays we have Apache Spark, we have a normal Jupyter notebook, even we have R. That is dependent on us how we are going to create a model. But each and every model will take input from the user end. And all the algorithms are actually designed for making the prediction, but based on the data input. Take an example, if you are going to input a CSV file, what it means that you are just going to input the key as well as the values, and that algorithms are actually designed for just for giving you a prediction on the basis of input. This is how actually my model actually work. And but basically if I'm talking about any of the business system or any of the application, uh, what the people want is they want is they just take an example, the deep learning model. And next slide, what exactly the deep learning model is, not going to much confuse you because you all are familiar with the deep learning model. This FDP is organized for understanding the health technology as well as the deep learning concept, having a successive layer basically for increasing the meaningful representation. See in this next slide, what basically is, take an example, pixel of image fed as an input. That means the word input, having a different input layer. This is a, you can say, popular deep neural network basically, that is known as CNN. Having a hidden layer, all are actually connected to each other. The input layer basically, this one is the last one is these hidden layer, that will be the CNN model. And the outcome is, it means that seem like a human brain. That means considering like basis on the basis of what exactly we are inputting it, they are accordingly considering, okay, this is the bird. In the Android application, basically, I have shown you before, just before 2 minutes, that was dog and cat. Dog, I have created an Android application for predicting whether it is a dog or a cat. Similar way, same example I have just taken from the analytics vidya. Let us suppose if we are considering this example, what exactly going on is, see, the different inputs are given in a form of images. See, this is my input, all are connected, and this is my hidden layers basically. Hidden layers are actually connected with each other. This is a do you can say artificial neural network, and giving me a prediction, okay, the tumor and other diseases, this will be considered as an outcome for me. This is how my deep learning works. See, the important is input images, important is training and testing data. At last, in what exactly the prediction we are going to get is, this prediction we have to showcase but on an Android application. This is the main motive of this 2 hour session. This will be a more interesting for you all. Let we have further discussed about what. Let us suppose this deep learning model, and take an example. We have already created a deep learning model. What exact the application, what exact the other softwares are needed to integrate this to Android application? The first one, the important one is your Python ID, the Jupyter notebook. First one is you have to create a model. After the creation of model, extracting it as a pickle module with the help of import library. After importing it from the pickle module, if it is a normal Python model, with the help of pickle, we can easily retrieve the values. But it is a if it is a TensorFlow, you have to convert it into a TensorFlow Lite with the and one of the framework is Flask. It means that if you want to convert your application, the first one is you have to create a model using a Jupyter notebook. After the creation of this Jupyter notebook model, the second one is the Flask. The third important is the Postman. This will, that means, take an example, the input is any value, take an example, any value, and we just want to see, okay, the whether my model is getting an input or not. We can provide the input with the help of Postman. We can inject the values, we can inject the key values with the help of this Postman application. At last, we need to host this, and thereafter we have to get this response on the Android application. See, the first important is the Jupyter notebook. Jupyter notebook is definitely for this model creation, having a multiple images, and according to these images, having a pooling layer as well as the hidden layer. At last, we are getting a prediction. This can be done with the help of Jupyter notebook. The next step is, that means we can get a pickle from this Jupyter notebook. We can import a pickle library. But next one is we have to create a function with the help of Flask, like with the help of Flask framework. Why it is needed? Basically because this method will be able to accept the input as well as provide you a response. After getting this response, actually the input basically done it from the, you can say, Android application. Let us suppose you just want to test it. For testing purpose, one of the application is Postman. With the help of post method, we can input the value, the key value, and will definitely get a response, but that response will be in a JSON form. It means that the Flask API, whatever the response will be provided by my Flask API, that will be in a JSON form. We have to parse it for printing the Android application. See, I have already mentioned this thing. The first one is your Python IDE need to take a pickle module. After taking this pickle module, the web framework, the Flask, with the help of PyCharm, we just need to create a one method for accepting the input, accepting parameter, as well as giving a response. And this, if you have used, you can say, TensorFlow library, that means you have to use TensorFlow Lite dot model. Otherwise, pickle can respond you if you have an integer value. In Android application nowadays, we have a two option as a backend technology. One is the Java, and second one is the Kotlin. Kotlin and Java are most familiar basically. If you have a better understanding of Java technology, you can easily understand Kotlin as well. It is an object-oriented framework basically. And what we need to do is we have to create a main activity in Android application. And main activity, if you can say this deep learning process, take an example of health related, that means the model we have created, the health related model if we have created, which means that the given input will be an image. The test model, the trained, basically the more what exactly the we have trained the model is, the prediction what exactly it will be done. And that prediction, that means that value will be my response, but that response will be in a JSON format. We have to apply JSONify for get passing this JSON response to exact integer value, and this we have to display it on the Android application. My next focus will be on explaining what exact the Android application is, and and thereafter we will my my team member, basically that means the Ajay, will explain you how you can create a model. With the help of that created model, we will deploy this on Android application. We will integrate to the Android application in my next session. And the thing is, we have to understand what the Android architecture is. Architecture is it is a you can say software development kit. If you want to, it is a open source, basically freely available. You can download the Android application. After downloading the Android application, and first instance basically, and we have to understand what exact Android architecture is. See in this diagram, already we have an idea what is application, what is kernel. Application and kernel, the in between this layer is known as the library layer, basically software development kit. Basically, take an example, we are going to create a one of the application is actually this actually in application is all time get a response from the application framework. Take an example, it if it want the response from my server from the kernel, will not directly get the response from the kernel. This middle layer will be responsible for getting the response from the kernel and provide to the application framework. And these are actually the users, basically the emulator, which is already when you install the Android architecture, we can set up emulator, and when you just click it on done, whatever you have created it on with the help of XML, the view, you will be able to see the view as well. See, these are the software which we have discussed for deploying the model to the Android Studio. Jupyter Notebook, PyCharm, Anaconda basically IDE having a Jupyter Notebook. The Postman is just for statically posting the value input, that means a key value. If we want to inject the key value with the help of method post, can post it with the help of Postman method. After successfully getting a response from the postman, what we need to do is we have to host this model only of the hosting provider. And because Android Studio cannot get a response directly from the local application, Android Studio always responds, but from the server side concept. Like, take an example. If my application is running on this local host 500, is by default a port number of my Flask, which would be PyCharm, because we have to create a method for a Flask in a Flask as well using this PyCharm Flask framework. But this will not respond. What we need to do is we have to host the model to any of the hosting organization, and that organization provide you one URL. With the help of this URL, we have to create XML. XML is just for view, and next one is we have to create a backend backend will have a two option, either Java or Kotlin. I basically prefer Java most because having a good understanding of Java, but that will be up to us. Kotlin is similar to a Java technology. The first thing which is most important to understand is when we are going to create any of the Android application, each screen is known as activity. Android application consists of activities and layout files. Layout is nothing, it is a kind of a view. What exactly we are saying is a label. Email is a label. Email is a label basically having a two button. And see, this this is known as, this portion is known as toast. This portion is known as toast, and this is the label, and this portion is known as the input box, and these are the button. It means that if for any of the model, the first simple thing is we have to create a layout. Let's take an example. You just have created a new project. By default, it named as main activity, and the pages, normal page is created for us, just mentioned as hello world. And whatever the input you want to take is you create an XML file for that, and there accordingly you need to write a code in an activity section. The basic layout basically, when we create any of the activity, by default, is this one is the main activity. Main activity means your code file. This one is your view file. When you just click it on create a new Android application, will create by default created a two file, activity underscore main.xml for the view, and main activity for writing a code. What exact my XML layout is? See, take an example. This kind of layout we are having. In this, I just want to accept a one image with the help of button. With the help of button, take an example, this button, and want to display a result on this portion. These are known as UI component. And for XML layout defines the UI component and their position on a screen. It means that the gravity, and even the margin. Take an example. See, this button, I want to display it in the middle of the layout, in the middle of my XML. This all are the element of my XML. See, in this example, by default, the code will look like this: linear layout, XML names, namespace. X stand for namespace, colon Android. And see, if it is mentioned Android, all the attribute will be connected, but this Android application, why it is connected this? Because this application will be actually able to understand, okay, this is the namespace, and these are the element which are following this mechanism: http schemas android.com/apk rest/android. These are the most common basically attribute: the width, height, gravity, and even these are, see, in this is the by default layout. When you just click it on, when you just take a new application, this is the Android application. By default, this code will be there, and this code will having a normal hello world. We will discuss this important basically. We will discuss this in my next slide. so that we'll have an idea what exact this gravity is. See, linear layout basically having a two type of orientation. One is vertical, or second one is horizontal. Vertical, this one is known as horizontal, and this can be a nested linear layout as well. Nested linear layout mean having a one layout in between a linear layout. See, in this example I have done this. See, the first linear layout, the second linear layout. After the creation of deep learning model, the important is, we take an example, the health, the brain. The neurologist basically, how actually the model we have created it for the brain, and according to the neural network just giving me a prediction. Okay, this problem is, you can say, trauma is having any diseases. This means that we just have to create a one view. We have to create a linear layout, the positional component, basically the horizontal as well as vertical orientation. Why horizontal? Because the button but if you want to consider this, I want to create a button, the horizontal layout. I just want to take input the vertical one. I just want to display what exact my prediction is, again a vertical layout. This means that we should have to arrange linear layout accordingly, but having a two orientation. One is the vertical, second one is the horizontal, and can be nested. See, in this example what I have shown you, like, if you have created any of deep learning model, let us suppose the heart disease or any of brain disease, the prediction you just want to display it, you just need a two button. One button is for accepting, one button is for accepting an image, the second button is needed for, take an example, the cancel. You just want to display one Android application, the cancel button. See, this orientation has two orientation, vertical as well as horizontal. What I have shown in this example, the first one is the text view, email. Second one is the edit text. Edit text means for accepting the value. The second one is two button I have created. One button is for login. Second button I have created it for registry, create any view for my deep learning model, for accepting the input, for displaying the result with the help of nested layer. See, this is the view basically. This code we have just attend right now. See what exact my outcome is being shown in front of us. Email, the text view, normal view, one input, edit text. Edit text is a element having two attribute, basically match parent. But important is, this is, see, this one is linear layout. XML names is Android. All time I have used Android. This is important to understand this thing. XML name, whatever the name is given, Android is given, whatever the attribute you want to place it, you just need to place it with the help of this Android keyword. Now, the most important attribute is the wrap content, match parent, margin, and gravity. When see in this wrap content mean, take an example. I have this view. My prediction outcome result is, take an example, the person is having dash disease, but going outside from this view, we can wrap it with the help of wrap for fitting, or you can say adjusting the content according to a screen. Nowadays we are having a tab, we have a laptop, we have a mobile phone. and the end of it, according to the screen size, the wrap content. Next one is the match parent. Match parent is same like you can say container basically. That means the container basically, that means the container will get to know, okay, this is the match parent, and will set a size same up to the widget category. Next one is the margin. Margin is, you can say, spacing the graph, positioning it from all the side, a part of gravity. Margin mean, that means one button having a margin of 2 dp, or take an example 7 pixel spacing. This is known as margin. Insert a spacing in between two buttons. Insert a spacing between the component and the parent is known as margin. Now the next one is resource string. Able to see my Android application screen? See in this, take an example. This is known as resource string. RES folder will discuss the whole structure of this application basically. The first one, we have just understand, okay, what exactly my activity main and this, and how we can create a linear layout. Linear layout with the help of this. See, what I have done in this my example, one in my application, I have created first normal text view, edit text. Added text mean for accepting the input from the user end. Again, text view just for displaying the breed. Next text view is for again accepting the input. I think you will be able to understand, okay, what exactly I have done is button mean a normal one. Same in this way to understand dog and cat. You just want to identify it is dog or cat by inputting a image. After inputting a image, we need a button as well, just for in whatever the input is given, we just need to pass this input to the model. Mm. That means that
Sir,
TensorFlow library. Yes, sir.
I think internet connection is, we are not listening few of your words. Uh,
Just a second, just going to check the connection. Hello, able to listen my voice? Hello.
yes, sir. Right now it is correct.
Okay, okay, thank you, sir. See, in this, now everyone will be able to understand how actually we can create this XML layout design. We'll do this in a next session. We will create the whole linear layout, and thereafter we'll accept the input from the user and will can deploy it with the help of JSON to my Flask application, and will get response back from my Flask application and display it on this view. Now the next one is string XML. See, this is the resources basically. This is known as string literal basically into a code. Take an example, if you want to create a button, mm, and the name is going to be repeated more 3 or 4 times, you can just mention a string literal. See, in this app underscore name, that means the dog house pro for getting the information about dog breeds basically. I have just given a app name dog house pro. It means that instead of using string resources all the time, this is a very good practice just to define it globally. And and this will be a beneficial for us. It means if you want to give a label to an email, if you want to give a label to a button, not need to define all the time, okay, this is the login button, This is the register button. We just need to mention it. I'm just going to show you all the things in my slide. Basically, I have covered this in my slides. See, in this string little, see, I have given Android text. By default, it will become at the rate string slash login button. Why it is going to convert this login to this login button? Because I have mentioned it here. See, in this, I'm saying if someone is going to write login, a normal login, it converted it to a login underscore button. If someone is going to write email, convert it into a email underscore label, which mean that all the things if we want to do is this things we have to do it. The folder name in res. After this for res, we have another folder. The name of the folder will be values. I need to mention the resources in this things.xml file. See, if I'm going to write normal text, by default it will be converted at the rate string slash login underscore button, with because of the all the definition I have given it, but on this in the string.xml file. Whatever the string literals you have to use in any your application. Take an example of identifying dog or cat. It means one input, one button, at last a prediction. Three component. That means I will mention like this string name equal to app name, dog, cat, identification. The first string. Second string will be string name. Input text is, you can say, input image. The third one will be the normal button. The fourth string name will be my prediction outcome, which will be again my label. Basically the text view, what exactly it is going to do is, see, I have created a one resource file: app name, email label, login button, register button. And in this strings.xml, what exactly becoming my code is becoming like this: at the rate string underscore email underscore label. But I have mentioned email, capital E small mal, but by default converting like a string letter at the rate. See, for a second, the if I am going to mention login, converting it at the rate string slash login underscore button, at the rate string slash resources are actually needed. See, you have created xml. See, this one is the considering it as this one is xml file, but the code, the backend code, take an example. I am considering I am going to write a code using a java. I will accept input and give response back to this XML. How my in Java, my main activity dot Java XML already have an idea. Okay, we this is with the help of text view can create a view with the help of edit text. Will accept the acceptance from the user input, and linear layout orientation is of two type: horizontal and vertical. But whatever the input you are accepting, considering an example, take an example, student placement. Three parameter we are going to accept it on XML. Take an example, and these three parameter should be passed to my Java application. From this Java application, it will again go to my three parameter. I am accepting it on XML, going this XML to my Java, and Java is sending to a Flask, and Flask is putting this to a model, and model is predicting the value and response back to the Flask, or directly response back to my backend storage with the help of JSON, which mean that this is most important. String literal is most important. Why? If any of the problem occur from getting input xml to main activity.java, we will not able to get exact prediction from the deep learning model, which mean that, take an example, the healthcare learning model we have created. and we just want the healthcare model giving me an exact prediction. Okay, this problem is occurred, this problem is occurred, and there accordingly, in with the help of tools to display me a exact result. It means that it means that the input string, because Java always uh, get a response in form of string and give a response in form of string. But my Flask is saying, sir, if you want to use my model, if you want to input me in a value, I will accept the value in a form of JSON and will provide you a result in a form of JSON. But why this backend storage is needed? For getting a JSON response from my app model, pickle model, or you can say TensorFlow model, and thereafter convert this response to a string for XML acceptance. And whatever actually going on is all is dependent on accepting input, all is dependent on taking an input, that means this string letters. That's why we just have to create a string.xml file. Whatever the name is given, by default it will be converted, and with the help of this string literal, we can easily retrieve a value on a Java, and we can easily pass on by converting this input parameter to a JSON to my model, and model will directly give me a response on my Java application. At last, we can display it on again on Android application. The toast is just a kind of a pop-up message, a dialogue basically, for informing the user something. Take an example. See, in this example, what I have shown you, I have just shown you, I have a person should have to enter at least one input, and this pop-up faded basically is showing in at the bottom of my screen. Is this is known as toast. Let us suppose you just have not input any value, you just have not inputted any of the image. It means prediction cannot be done. It will definitely create generate an exception for handling the exception, but at the user end. That means my program should not be dominant. My technology, I will able to handle it with the help of this tools. Let us suppose I'm just going to input one image, but user has not selected it. Just want to display it. Okay, you just have to select an image, or this is a part of toast. The pop-up faded basically automatically shown, and for a shorter set of time. After the shorter set of time, will be, you can say, will be disappeared from the screen. This is the whole structure basically. When you just create an Android application, see, this is the normal structure for understanding it. How actually my Android folder structure is basically SRC folder, the first folder where we have to write the backend code. This one, the backend code, the source code. This one is auto-generated code. That means we don't need to make any of the change in then this portion. All the libraries, take an example. Let us suppose if we want to use TensorFlow, TensorFlow, that means we need to call the third party API as well for the support of the resultant. All the third party library, or you can say the jar file, that will be shown in the Android section. Rec rec this one we have just discussed right now. The layouts will be under the layout folder. The values just discussed right now, the strings.xml, this one. See, this one, resource basically, this one will be a part of the string.xml. This manifest most important file, the configuration file basically having the all configuration detail. That means, take an example, the Gradle. If we are going to now, like Gradle, Gradle basically the settings. Take an example which will contain what exact the plugin management is, repositories, even the you can say Maven dependencies, because sometime we just use the Maven dependencies. And take an example, Google Map API, which is we just need a Maven central dependency for Google Map API. All will be a part of configuration. This will that means my application should have an idea. Okay, this kind of a dependency or should be resolution management and need to call it before executing my actual application, and all will be a part of this manifest.xml. Till now what we have done is, just for actual understanding, I have created a small diagram basically for your actual understanding. ML model to Flask REST API, all the work actually done with the help of Python, even can done in Apache Spark or R. Pickle, that means after the creation of ML model, read binaries, RB, WB, write binaries, the pickle basically we can save a model. This saved model will be passed to my Flask REST API, Flask framework basically. In this Flask framework, what I will do is I will check first statically and thereafter pass this value to my Android application. Statically means my postman. That means here statically mean with the help of post method, with the help of post method, I can easily check it out. Okay, the my model is properly working. And it is, if it's TensorFlow, that means we'll convert it into a TF Lite model. Why I will convert it into a TF Lite model? Because TensorFlow model, the pickle sometime can, because I need to convert it into an object, because in pickle we are going to insert integer parameter, but here we are going to insert a one actual image, TensorFlow Lite, and we just need to convert it into a TF Lite, and thereafter you need to get a response from the Android application, and this and whatever the prediction is done by my model and need to again display to the Android application. All work can be done with the help of Java. That means the better understanding is, first create a model. After creation of model, Flask REST API. Flask REST API means WB, that means WB, that means a write binary. After convert saving this model in a pickle with the help of import pickle library. Flask REST API, the rule of this Flask REST API just to create a method basically for accepting the input from my Android application. Importantly, this one is important to understand. JSON response. JSON, that means my Flask Java always were get a response in form of string and give a response in form of string. But my Flask say, sir, if you want to communicate with me, just get a response with the help of JSON. Actually, the JSONify is used basically. JSONify is converting my JSON response to acceptable Android, and accepting, that means JSONify we have to use because Flask will respond you in a form of JSON. See the layout file already we have done. The next one is the list. Next one is the actually layout file we have already done. If anyone's still having any query, just let me know. I'll explain you again about XML libraries. The otherwise can move further for the list view basically. Why the list view is considering an example, real world weather application API application data. Take an example, list view actually allow us to create a scrollable list. Scrollable list means dog can have a multiple breed. And take an example, the weather API, real world application data. We are just want to display in my application. It means that weather application data is, take an example, India having a multiple state. Multiple state mean each state can have a multiple view. That's why the scrolling view, a range is available in Android. We have four type of list view basically in Android application. First one is list view, scrolling view, basically list of item, display item one by one in a container. Third one is a grid. Second one we have is the grid view, scrollable grid view of item. Third one is recycler view, the most efficient replacement for the list view and a grid view. Why we are saying this thing? Because this is uh, latestly they have introduced recycler view. Because take an example, the scrolling view does not display a list of item. It allows you to inside place a content on the inside view. See in this, it's like able to understand the whole thing. See, this is the simple list view having all the breed name, dog breed name basically. See how actually we can do is we, if you want to create a list view, we just need to write list view ID, need to mention ID, layout, width and height. See, I have given match underscore parent for a list view. And the layout I have mentioned is linear layout. See, this is a simple layout. I have not given any of the orientation. That's why showing it in a view one by one, a normal view. See, take an example. We are getting a response. When we are getting a response, I have just taken a small, you can say small list, small list, and want to display it on this on a list view layout. How actually it can be done? See, what I have done is I'm saying I'm just going to declare it. See, this one is known as adapter. Adapter is essential for displaying it any of the content on a screen. See, what exactly I'm going to do is I'm just the see what ID I have mentioned is city underscore list underscore view. See, I'm saying r dot id. Just find it out. City underscore list underscore view. After this, whatever the mentioned, I have created a normal array. Put this array element, all the array element. This mean the that means that means my current layout. That means this mean my activity underscore mean is my current content view right now. Take this whole array adapter and put this simple list item into an array and see this adapter list view dot adapter basically what exactly it will do is this is you can say similar to the previous slide basically the previous one. This one we need to understand is if anyone just click it on any of the item, if anyone is just going to click it on any of the item, just take a position. Why the position is important? Because take an example, we have one, two, three, four, five normal weather API data, normal weather API data having a five state. Take an example. If someone is clicking it on third, it means we should have get an idea. Okay, this one is the third ID. This one is the third position and should be displayed as okay item at index fourth is selected. Why? Because with the help of id we can easily apply any of the operation. Take an example, we have a normal list having a seven list view. If we have an exact id, okay, this one is a seventh index id. With the help of this seventh index id we can easily display a value. Okay, this one is a seventh index id, and let us suppose if we want to make changes in any of you can say view, can easily do it with the help of positioning the value. See, this get item at position mean get item at position. This is the list view method for getting a value, getting not a value, basically getting a string from the position. See, take an example one, two, three. See, in this example, Take an example. I'm considering, okay, I just want to retrieve the fourth index value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the Canberra will be returned to me. And I just want to display this Canberra as my the prediction was actually done is okay, 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, and fourth index. We have a list of value and just want to display the prediction for taking an example for index value for food. See, this is the way for displaying a value. List view dot get item at position, the position as string. Can display it on a toast. Toast is a normal dialog box. Make a text item at index, the item value as well as you can display a position to show. Yeah, see, the next one is the data adapter. The most important this one. Able to see my Android application screen? Hello. See in this screen basically, first I have created a normal list fragment. After the creation of view, we have to create an adapter. Why this adapter is essential? Adapter actually fetch the list data from the specified resource. It means that take an example, the prediction is giving us a response. Let take an example, we have array index value, and this array index value we just want to put it in a list view. We cannot directly place it directly, and the populated list should be placed but with the help of this adapter. See, in this I have created a normal fragment. After the creation of normal fragment recycler view, we have four kind of a view. Basically, with the help of recycler view, I am saying dot adapter. Just put whatever the list is coming from my database, whatever the list is coming from my data source, put it in a dog adapter. See, this is the dog adapter. Dog adapter basically, that means dog adapter means getting a whatever the operation you want to perform, whatever the data is fetching from the list data, and this data adapter basically put that string array to my text view and display all the item repeatedly one by one. And this view basically having actually, if you don't want to create an adapter, we have a predefined adapter as well, array adapter. Take an example, we have a manual value, we don't need to create a nor adapter, the manual code like this. We can just use an array adapter to place my value to the list item. The first one is the data adapter. We have just seen the data adapter basically why it is needed for fetching the list of data from the specified resource and populate the list. And data adapter basically place the string into the text view from the list item and place all the item from array to the list view. At last, if we are saying, okay, if you I have already mentioned this thing, the array adapter. Array adapter is the predefined data adapter. Why they have created is, take an example, if we have a response but having a multiple, you can say a dog breed, take an example, having a multiple breed, we can create a normal, we can use a predefined array adapter for displaying the dog breeds. See in this what is actually going on this, the list view. See the adapter. See, the first view is saying that give me item first view. Adapter fetch the view and populate the item from the list view to display it. And thereafter, what exactly going on is list view step down the item one by one, and thereafter populate each new item view and then passes to a list view. Adapter fetch the item till the end of the list and display it one by one. This is the role of data adapter. Data adapter means first get all the array value and thereafter display the item one by one. See, we have a custom data adapter, we have a custom layout. Even we have a predefined data adapter. We have already discussed this one. The array adapter, the predefined data adapter is array adapter. And custom adapter, see the dog adapter basically, I have customized it. I have created it for fetching the value from the database. Take an example, we have stored our values in a database. We just want to retrieve the value, but from my database end as well, because we can use, we have a database to application MySQL, SQLite. These application we can also use it for manipulate for retrieving a data, or you can say matching the data. Saying, take an example, I have a multiple data, I just want to predict it one by one. I have just stored it on a MySQL. This data can be retrieved one by one from the database and can be matched. Okay, this prediction done, this one is done, and thereafter result also can again go stored back to my application. This process can be done but with the help of custom data adapter. See the recycler view, update, see update list view was actually created and called the recycler view. Recycler view use the view holder. View holder are nothing basically, these are populated with the data by the adapter, and list just came into a view, and view holder can be added to a list view. It is most efficient way for putting a data in a list view rather than using others. See, and this you will be able to easily understand why it is most popular. See, in the previous example, what exactly going on is in this list view. Item 1 getting put it. Get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 12. And what in this view holder, see, the items are actually view holder means tell 12 view holder populating a data and put it into a one view. First, that means all the 12 see this one, it will be able to understand exactly. Take an example, we have the visual screen. This is the visual screen. The first one is view going off screen. Second one is scroll down. The second, what exactly is the recycler basically. That means, take an example, we have a multiple input, but the screen will be shown only the visible data. That means will not able to show the going off screen, and will not able to view going on screen data, will be able to show you only the visible screen. It means here the recycler view comes into an existence, and this recycler view basically provide you an exact recreation of, see, view going off screen. Second, move view to a recycler, showing the next view. Recycled view, binding it to the next call, and after binding it, it is going to be shown in on the screen as well. This is the process of recycler view. But if you are going to use the list view or a grid view or a scroll view, this kind of process is not a part of the grid view or a list view. Adapter actually places the item view in a view holder basically. The view holder passed through the recycler view, and item came into a view. Again, recycler retrieve it from the holder, thereafter recreating it. See, in this, the widget I have used as recycler view. I'm saying normal layout is the linear layout. Normal layout is the linear layout, but this recycler view, the widget I have used as recycler view. Recycler view means like this. I want to display my data, but with the help of view holder. See this. That means on the create view holder, it means that data adapter will provide you a two event for the task. On the create view holder, that means on the create view holder, as well as for this. That means having a two event. Having a two event, one is empty view holder passes them to the recycler view for storing until it needed. And the second one is bind view. Bind view will mean whatever it is coming from the view holder back to the adapter, data adapter populate the view and give it back to the recycler view for displaying the data. See the actual data binding process. Recycler view holder 1 up to the 6 on create. On create means looping through and create a view holder and inflate empty view in a holder. At last repeat it one by one. And this view holder basically is the positional index, get data at the index and populate it and retrieve it in a all the item actually coming into a view one directly from you with the help of wind view holder. Till now what we have done is, see, when we have a deep learning model, when we have any of the deep learning model, we don't have too much focused it on what exactly the my Java coding will be, because Java coding is quite easy because we just need to take input from the user, and whatever the result is coming from my model just need to display it. The important understanding is, okay, how actually my list view, what exact the layout will be for the creation of Android application. And the most important is UI component is, take an example, the menu, switching from one screen to another screen, because all the screen, whatever the screen you want to create in an Android application, that will be a part of XML. See in this, see in this view basically, actually the fragmentation is just about, take an example, we have a multiple screen, mobile phone, we have a tablet, swipe the move through item detail without returning to the list, and use menu to swap out item detail basically. It means we just want to make a UI flexible, we just want to make my application that should be able to be display on the phone as well as should be able to respond on a tablet according to the screen size. We just need to use a fragment. See in this example, basically in the fragment detail, I have just created a normal fragment. If I'm going to show you the design, see this one, this is the fragment basically I have created it. The rule of the fragmentation is to make our UI more flexible. Make our UI, that means fragment is like an activity. Like an activity means, first we have to create a fragment detail in this. After the creation of fragment detail, we need to create a one activity for this. The rule of this activity is to just view the content but according to the portion of the screen, and each fragment and has its own layout and code files which allow a fragment in different screen configuration. I'm just going to show it on my slides so that we'll be able to understand all the things. Nowadays we have mobile phone, we have a tablet, and for making UI more flexible, it means that displaying a detail, so that means adjust a content according to the response, screen response. See, we can easily understand this thing with the help of diagram, the phone and tablet, the menu to swap out the item list, and detail is more being shown on the tablet view. See, fragment is like an activity already, and what exactly it is responsible for a portion of the screen. Each fragment has its own layout as well as code, which allow us to use a fragment according to a different configuration of the screen. Basically, see in this tablet, handset, but handset screen size is much smaller as compared to a tablet, which means that this activity A and activity B, we just, this cannot be shown directly, but in a tablet, if we have a tablet, both activity, both can be shown. Why it can be shown? Because having a more screen size on the tablet. This part is known as fragmentation in Android application. Fragmentation allow us to fragment in different screen configuration basically. See the fragment container basically, these containers are used for building an interface but according to the screen size basically, or adding the sidebar. See, this is, you will be able to easily understand what exactly is. This is the list fragment I have created it. Just shown you the code. That code basically, what exactly the code is basically, dog list activity, this is the container. That means this is the container, this is the list fragment, and will be swapped out with the detail fragment when a dog is selected. It means someone is just going to select it, any of the list will be swapped out and will display you another fragment. Whatever, take an example, this one, see this one. If someone is just clicking on it, any of the, you can say the portion showing this detail, and clicking on done, going back to this. That means if someone has clicked it on this fourth list, whatever the list is, the activity create a detail fragment. It means that what fragment is basically, let us suppose we have 2000 input to take an example, and we just want to display a particular information. We just want to see by clicking an information. That means we don't have to create a multiple screen for this. We just have to use a fragmentation. Fragmentation means activity create a detail and swap it with the list fragment. This fragment means whatever the detail is will be shown in here, will by default replace it. Take an example, if someone is clicking on in the sixth list, that means the buttherd and the mastiff and the seventh age, they will be replaced. And when just click it on the done option, again go back to the activity, will again show the previous. Already discussed this thing. If you want to create any of the, you can say fragmentation, we just need to, for the creation of the fragment basically, the first one is we have to use this recycler view, and after this recycler view we have to extend the activity. The name of the activity is the fragment, and this create view basically is view container. Take an example, if someone click it on the first index value, how actually this fragment getting a data with the help of this id, with the help of this id. It means fragmentation container is nothing, it is just a view, whatever the input is given. And just if you want to display it in a group of bundle, this can be shown with the help of view using a fragment. And see this one, someone clicking on it, showing the data, and this is done with the help of saved instance. We have a multiple way basically passing a data from the activity to a new fragment. Normal is fragment argument. Fragment argument mean taken, that means except intent basically. And we have three things need to understand is extent, extras, and bundle. Bundle is a container of key value pair, and the intent is a, you can say a passive data structure which contain a description of operational of that need to be performed. And extras basically is, that means let us suppose if you want to add another extra variable, the key value pair, that can be also added with the help of extras. And see this one, the important one is this one. Take an example, this one, alternate method to pass a data between activities and fragment view model with the lighting. Because this is a deep learning concept. Let us suppose we have a live data and we just want to pass in a fragment, because no one is having an idea okay what fragment is. Fragment is nothing having, let us suppose we have a list of data, and list and data, adjust it according to the screen size is known as fragmentation. List, when just click it, when someone just click it on the list, and thereafter, after clicking it, someone clicking on the list, after clicking it on the list, and data is going to be displayed, which means we don't have to create a multiple view. Single fragment will have an ability to display all the view model with a light. The most important one is the alternate method for displaying the live data. Live data is a wrapper basically. We can apply to a variable and will have work like as a variable reactive. Reactive data, take an example, reactive, it is implemented as a stream data. Stream data means that means data is coming from live data. Considering an example is you can say the weather data. Data will be permitted and every time it will be changed. And when we can attach an observer to a reactive variable, anywhere in our code, the observation will be triggered when the data will be changed. Take an example, we just have got a prediction. Okay, this is the prediction, but when the new value will be came to my UI, then my UI will be updated. And there accordingly, if reactive data is going to be updated, my view model should have to use a state management for the all the component should have to persist whatever the change and rotation is going to be done at the backend, because data is coming from the live data and should be exchange data from the fragment one fragment to another. This live data and view model basically are nothing, it is a kind of a wrapper basically, and this can be handled with by making a reactive variable. Reactive data means, that means reactive data means a variable actually emit an event every time the when the data change. It means, take an example, a reactive data, uh, considering an example, we have, you can say, any of the data which is coming from API resource, and there accordingly, if input is coming going to be changed, the trigger basically, that means the reaction. If data change, their observation will be changed and no value will be passed on to my UI. The view model will definitely essentially should have to change the component accessible from one activity to another activity. And this can be done with the help of live data and view model. Next one, I see in this example basically doc doc detail view model. I have simple. I have, if you want to use the view model, we need to extend view model activity. View model. After extending the view model, mutable live data. Live data means the doc data coming. So data see set selected data, when someone is just clicking on, it means that the main activity, the observer activity, should have the data should be changed. That means someone has just clicked on the second index, the live data. Mutable is a live data. Data is going to be changed with the help of event, the main activity, the observer. And let us suppose if someone has just clicked on another value, it means that get selected data. Set selected and get selected mean basically get mean accepting the data. Set selected mean techniques that means I am saying I int map a equal to 5. That means I am setting a value a equal to 5. In a similar way, if we have a multiple dog breed, just someone clicking on seventh index value, which mean that the selected index value is 7. There accordingly we have to swap the fragment. And get selected value mean whatever the value is being shown in this live data, anyone can retrieve it with the help of selected dot value. That means getting a selected value, and this detail fragment will be again, this is the adapter view holder, and this one is the detailed doc fragment. Detailed doc fragment means data having a further data for displaying the see in this, normally a selected doc as well as edit doc. Edit doc mean I just want to update the value as well. After selecting the value, see, first I have selected the value. See, the first one is doc list fragment from this get edited doc. This dog's live data will be passed into my main activity. This main activity data will be set to the edit text dog. At last, this one will be updated to a dog in dog array. Basically, any of deep learning model, if you want to create any of the application, the first one, the first one is, now we have an I get the idea, okay, that we have different kind of layout, and listing of layout is impossible, and each layout can have a multiple orientation, horizontal, vertical, and thereafter we get to know, okay, why is the role of fragmentation, why do we need this fragmentation? Considering an example, let us suppose we have 22,000 input. We just want to retrieve a prediction for each input. We will not pass all the input one by one. We will just pass it with the help of view. We have list view, scrolling view, we have recycler view. Considering an example, okay, we have used a recycler view. Thereafter, the main important is rule of fragment, because this recycler view will display all 2000 images on a same time, but the prediction is needed for each and every image. That's why you need a fragmentation in a deep learning model. After this deep fragmentation, we have done the string literal as well. What is the rule of string.xml? Now the second one is, see, nowadays UI should be more impressive. Nowadays UI should have a better styling and should have exact theme match. And even the menu bar is also needed. Take an example, you have created an application for, you can say, for, you can say, any of, you can say, predicting for a brain disease, and need a login access. After login to an application, the doctor will be able to add image at last, and at last will predict them, okay, this is the scan, the image, this is the MRI image. There accordingly, my model is predicting.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
the screen is, yes, it is moving up.
Okay, sir. See, we have discussed linear layout. See, in simple
Yes,
mechanics, see, the linear layout, basically we have the vertical, horizontal, as well as the nested. Actually, the four thing, the comparison of dimension unit, we need to understand: dp, sp, px, and pt. All are familiar with the help with the pixel. Basically, actually the screen size is in form of pixel. The scale independent, actually this is known as SP, the size preference. Let us suppose, uh, first understand what DP is. DP is the density independent pixel. One DP is always equal to the one pixel. It means that pixels my screen size, DPI screen mean screen density. That screen density same like equal to the my pixel. And PT, PT is basically 172 of the inch based on the physical size of a screen. See the gravity, this one is positional center from all the four portions. Layout gravity, that means from bottom right, bottom center horizontal, and from bottom vertical to a center align. That means the position of component. See, in this I have already given, okay, I'm saying my start button should be at top left corner, my right button should be at, okay, my button bottom right. Bottom right means my button the gravity. We have this is an attribute, basically having a different positions. With the help of these position, we can easily manage the view. And thereafter, let us suppose if we want to add a relative layout. See this one, gravity. See this one, image view. This is the visual editor. This is the XML file. It's nothing. It is a kind of a palette. We can just drag and drop. Take an example. We just want to create a button. We just need to select this button and can easily drag it. By default, the code of XML will be done. And this is the image view. Image view means image view basically, but take an example, the image outcome, the and this actually the palette is, this one is a palette, have a different, you can say, component library. And this component library and these attribute are the whatever the selected component you have just selected it, you can easily drag it. And by default the code, and these are the properties, these are the attribute properties. It means if you have a better understanding, you can write the code of XML, and otherwise we have this UI interface for managing the view. Basically, we can easily create a view with the help of these properties in the visual editors. And theme, see, the resource folder we have value. One file name is the string.xml for string literal. One file name is the, you can say, at the rate style my underscore style file. With the help of this style file, you can globally specify the actual what exact the padding of your item, and even the text size of your item you can easily specify with the help of this style tag. With the help of style, you just need to specify the name my style, and you can easily use it in any of, you can take, see, this was the resource I have just created, my style. I'm saying okay, the color primary picking, and there accordingly the color. After selecting this color, whenever you are going to create main manifest file, you just need to use Android colon. The name of the attribute is theme at the rate slide style slash this app name. With the help of this, you can apply any of the style. Take an example, we have multiple view, 20 to 30 view, and we do not need to write all these styles, different style to the activity.xml. We can just create a one style.xml file, and we can easily use this theme and can easily apply this theme to any of the other XML file. Dialogues. See, this is the alert dialogue basically. The toast is, you can see, the feeded content. Dialogue is the alert content. Take an example. See, I have shown image for cat. I just want to, this feature has not been implemented. Take an example, some of the feature which is not being implemented. I just want to display it on a user. This can be done with the help of dialog box. We just, when for creating a dialog box, we have to use dialog builder, and with the help of alert dialog can give any of the warning, okay, and can have two option as well, the okay and cancel. If someone is clicking on a cancel button, which mean set a negative button, that means will not do anything. If someone is clicking it on okay button, it means this say changes will be saved permanently. Similarly, we have date picker dialog as well. Date picker dialog just for selecting the dates, toolbar and menu. I'm just finish. The menu we have in this res folder, we have menu.xml. See, layout is used for the creation of layout. Values is used for string.xml style, string as well as for style. If you want to apply a theme style, you have to put this XML, you have to make changes in this values XML. And if you want to create a menu, if you want to create a menu, the one file name is menu underscore main.xml. In this main menu file, need to display whatever the menu option. Take an example, home, login, input as well as logout. This menu option can be a part of main menu.xml. With the help of inflate, we can easily create a menus. See, in this way, if item ID is selected, just display the value, otherwise not display anything. And in Droid Asset Studio, we have some of the predefined resource. It has actually the resource manager. Resource manager actually add a drawable resource as well. That means it means having resource view as well. Take an example. If you want to add any of the graphic image, it having a resource manager. With the help of resource manager, take an example. I just want to use a one GIF image email, can use, do not need to download it. We have a lot of images already, icons are already present in asset studio, can easily use it. And different in even in a different dpi as well. That means xhd dpi, hd dpi as well as mdpi as well. That will be dependent on us, whatever according it suits according to our theme, can use any of the see whatever you are going to use any of the DPI in this XHDPI, it will by default place in your drawable any DPI as well as the PNG, because whatever the icon path you have selected is, it should be present in the RES folder. That's